Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Rslash Tales from the Customer. In today's episode, that time I made a repair place nervous for telling the truth. I finally made money by using self-checkout. Saddest pizza experience. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. That time I made a repair place nervous for telling the truth. Picture this, it's spring 2011. I'm driving an old, beat-up car that was a gift, and one of the tires springs a leak. So, after I get my paycheck, I go to a national tire chain, henceforth referred to as NTC, to get it patched. I get there as soon as they open, 6 a.m. I go in, explain the problem, and tell them what I need. Simple, right? Just a patch or a plug. No issue, should have been in and out, especially since I was the first car in the lot. Well, I get told that there's cars in front of me that the mechanics didn't have a chance to finish yesterday. I say that's fine, go to the little lobby thing and start doing my homework. I packed it all. 8 a.m. rolls around and they still have my car. At about this time, the first customers, besides me, start entering the lobby. It was at this time that I got called up to the desk and informed that the hole in my tire was too close to the sidewall for a plug. Which was a lie, by the way. The clerk at the desk recommended I get a brand new tire. Their lowest was selling for less, by 1 penny, than $200. I told her I couldn't afford to spend $200, and can they just top up my tire so I can limp somewhere else to try my luck? She said that no, letting me out in that car would make the company liable if I got into an accident, and I nodded. Then I asked if they could just switch it out for the spare tire in my trunk. My spare tire. The car had a spike in the trunk that was used to hold the spare tire in place, and a wing nut to help with that. Problem was, the trunk wasn't watertight and leaked every time it rained, so the wing nut had rusted and fused with the spike. I knew this. They did not. The tire was fine, by the way. The spike and wing nut had been on their last legs when I put the spare in the trunk in the first place. I sit back down. I finish my homework. I pack everything back up and look around. Around 11 a.m., I started losing my patience. So, I start talking with the customer who just came in. I ask the typical questions: how's your day going, what brings you here, can't believe it's almost 90, and it's not even April yet, etc. Then he asks how long I'd been there, and I tell the exact truth. I said, "Oh, I've been here since 6. He stared at me. "Man," he laughed, "your car problem must be complicated." I shrugged. I didn't think so, I told him. But what do I know? What's wrong with your car? I shook my head. I have a hole in my tire. He did a double take, eyes widening in panic. And, at that moment, the receptionist called me over to explain that they couldn't pull the spare out of my trunk, but they were willing to top off the air in my tire so I could limp to another location. And that they wouldn't charge me anything, since they weren't able to do anything. I nodded, thanked her, got my keys, and drove to a local tire place that specializes in recycled tires, and got a $5 plug. When I mentioned to the guy doing my tire that NTC had said the hole was too close to the side wall to plug, the guy said whomever looked at my tire was an idiot. Car places are the worst. Glad they let you go. Took way too long, but yeah. Thank you. Like getting out of jail. I thought this was going to end with them loosening up your rusty nut for free, because you couldn't do it. Nah. I'm guessing they couldn't get it either. I eventually had to take a hacksaw to it in order to free my spare. Similar story. I had free inspections at the dealership I got my car from. I know they do this hoping to find something wrong and make money off of you. I had the car a year. I hardly drove it. The idiot who runs the service department tried to tell me that my brakes were so bad that he couldn't give my car back to me. Now, you know when your brakes are going bad, far more when they're actually that bad. Plus, I had so few miles on my car that the brakes would have been faulty in the first place. I went around with the supervisor for about 2 minutes before I whipped out my phone and said I'd call the police. He promptly gave me my car back. I filed a complaint the whole way up with the manufacturer of the car when I was ignored by the dealership. The manufacturer wasn't too happy to find out a licensed dealership/service department had a supervisor trying to swindle people. I took my car to my mechanic, more or less to get paperwork saying there was nothing wrong with the brakes to turn over to the manufacturer. There was nothing wrong with my brakes. They weren't an idiot, they were a lying hustler. Yeah. But I got away. Not at all, from what I'm reading. They're not willing to plug a tire that, very likely, wasn't reparable by the general standards of what can and can't be repaired. The automotive industry has changed so incredibly much since the days back in the 70s and 80s when being a sh** bag was the norm. Yet so many people still ascribe the worst intentions to every interaction despite knowing nothing about what actually happened. Gets really old. The recycled tire places saved me so many times when I was young and poor. Got some pretty sweet cheap tires from them. I honestly don't remember why I went to NTC first. Brand name, I guess? They saved my brother-in-law lots of money too. And he is a licensed airplane mechanic and gets paid lots of money. They didn't charge you anything, so there was no paper trail. Yeah, I can't imagine 6 hours to top off air and tire would look good on their paperwork. Rip-off artists. Had a tenant tell me a place charged her $50 to put air in her tires. Told her to put it up on Yelp, Google reviews, and never go near the place again. I was horrified to read that. Here I thought paying $1 was too much. Never ever go to the big discount chains. Every single time I've gone there at least one tire has leaked. Last time I went to a small specialty garage. Haven't had a leak since. Yeah, I learned that lesson. Several chains do this. I have a full-size pickup. I went in for the free lifetime rotation that came with the tires I purchased. I had a slow leak. Knew exactly where it was and had chosen to wait to do anything. I was putting in air every 3 to 4 weeks. They found it, it was a screw and obvious, and tried to sell me a new tire, because we can't patch anything within 4 inches of the sidewall. My tires are 285/75/16. That width is 11.25 inches. So they are claiming that they can't patch 71% of the width of such a tire. I called BS. I have actually patched tires. 285 millimeters is 11.25 inches. You can patch as long as you have at least half an inch from the edge of the tire belt. Their claim was pure junk. It's a policy to sell tires. It's purely made-up numbers to convince people they need tires that they don't. Many don't know better and get exploited. I finally made money by using self-checkout. Wow, my second time posting in this sub in 2 days. It's legit though, as I've been shopping a lot lately. Last night I had to buy a list of items at a huge cheap mart. My son stopped by before I left. He owed me $50. When I saw him walk in with a $50 in one hand and a big Ziploc bag in the other, I knew what our game was. I could choose the $50 or take a chance and select the change bag, which may have more or less than $50. Either way, his debt is settled when I choose. I had 10 seconds and it looked like a lot of quarters, so I chose the change. Headed to the shopping store, knowing they had one of those machines that counts your change and gives you a receipt which you may turn in for real dollars at customer service. For this convenience, the machine deducts an 11% service fee from your total. But last night, the coin machine was out of order. So after I filled my cart with holiday necessities, I headed to self-checkout. They have about 15 stations. I made sure to ask the worker to assign me a machine that took cash. And as you've probably guessed, I spent the first several minutes inserting the coins. The total coin amount was $62.65. I skipped the pennies, with no service fee deduction. Sure, it took me about 5 minutes to insert all the coins, but it was totally worth it. I once found I had like 100 pounds in change after sorting a few years' worth out. My next couple of grocery store trips ended with me funneling it all into the self-checkouts. Late at night when it was dead, of course. I'm not a total monster. A few years back, I made my son and daughter help me clean out our garage. It took most of the day and was dirty, sweaty work. I bought them subs for lunch though, and then told them they could have their dad's popcorn tin full of change provided they helped finish to MY standards, and immediately took the donation items and dropped them off. Well, they did, so I sat in a lawn chair in my clean garage, had an ice-cold beer, and waited for them to return. They were bursting when they got back, shot out of the truck, and made me guess how much they'd each gotten: over $300 each. They said all the checkers and customers were making bets on how much it would be, and everyone cheered when the total was announced. Thanks for the fun memory. Oh, and their dad had died a few years before, and we were cleaning a lot of his things out. I didn't just randomly hand them their dad's savings. If you use those machines and get it in gift card form, they don't take any money out. As I told customers, never use the coin machine. 1. Go to a self-checkout, grab a gift card and put $100 on it. 2. Start inserting coins. 3. When you've finished, cancel transaction, machine will give you bills back instead of coins. No fees, and you've just done the same amount of work it would take if you used a coin machine. This is the way. I took a boatload of change to a branch of Not My Bank once to use the coin counter. I seriously lugged in a 5-gallon bucket, partially full. I was in a tough spot money-wise, and that's why I was getting it changed to bills. I knew I was going to get gigged for the 10%, and I was resigned to that fact before I even stepped foot in the place. So, I'm over there feeding the machine, making a huge racket in the bank, and then get my receipt. It was at least a couple $100. It's been a long time. Anyway, I go get in line to cash out and get called to a teller. I hand it over and this angel of a lady takes it, looks at it and me and just says, "You need all your money, baby." Yes, the loving black lady voice, in case you're saying it in your head. Counts out the whole amount and hands it to me. This was just a couple weeks before Christmas too. That stuck with me. I loved it so much. Little things matter. Your bank will also sort them and give you cash for free. Not all of them. I called my local M&T bank and they said I needed to bring change and roll to exchange it. Oh wait, you walk in your bank. My credit union is local, but I haven't walked inside since 2017. That's good info to know though. I found out my aunt and uncle had been collecting change in buckets in their office. I don't know how big these buckets must have been, because they just got around to donating the money, and it was over $1,000. I now have a better idea of why there was a national coin shortage, US. I had a friend that only used cash, and would put his change in a water cooler jug at the end of every day. I helped him haul that heavy thing down 3 flights of stairs one day, about 3/4 filled with coins, and when he got back he had over $800 in cash. Pretty nice way to get a bonus at the end of the year, even though you had been saving it. The change always adds up. When my siblings and I were kids, our parents would take us to the county fair. My dad would have like 4 to 5 peanut butter jars filled with change he'd save up all year. We'd guess how much, but was always way short. It was usually over $400, so we always had a good time. You did not make money by using coins the correct way. You just stopped getting robbed of 11% by doing the work yourself. Well, really, I made money all around because Kyle only owed me $50. I almost always used self-checkout and knew some took cash, but didn't know they took change. Don't let those machines steal 11% of your money. That's $11 out of every 100. You did the smart and best thing by using the cash self-checkout. Good move. I got some change I want to get rid of. Thank for the tip. Right. That's a huge cut. Since there is an ongoing coin shortage, the store would have taken the coins and run them through their internal coin sorter and converted them to bills for free. You just have to ask. Not all stores have those, but it never hurts to ask. Saddest pizza experience. I used an online form to order dinner tonight and pre-tipped approximately 27%. Usually this place is great and fast. Our contactless order showed up and clearly was made wrong, so I phoned in. The guy who answered was either ridiculous amounts of stupid, high, or both. After a frustrating 10 minutes he said it would be another hour to get a replacement. Fine, and I also offered to give the driver the whole order back. Since we can't eat it anyway, the dairy-free was switched with dairy, and the other food was ridiculously mismade. Paid for a spicy sauce for veggie pizza. It was a large plain pie with no sauce. I also mentioned we didn't get the sauce we paid for last time or this time, so could he send that? I drove pizzas for 2 years at Big D's, so I feel okay about how I was, but I was feeling so upset by the end of the call. That guy was so high and gave no *CKs that they sent the wrong food to us, and made it as difficult as possible to fix it. He was just giving me a hard time, and it's not like I wanted special treatment, just a simple fix. We like their food, but I don't need to pay someone to treat me like *T. Update, spiked with real dairy again and am feeling sick. Pizza joint, you dumped. As someone who works at a pizza place, starts with an M and comes before Polo, I'm thoroughly disappointed. It's really not that hard to remake a mess up. I do it all the time. Just started getting food from them within the last year. Of the chain places, yours is my favorite. The Big D gets my vote only because of their tasty as hell spinach and feta one, but M's cheesy bread has made my 10 years old cry tears of joy. Get in my belly, cheesy bread. All bullsh *T aside, Marcos has the best cheese sticks in the game. That crack you'll sprinkle on M has them bad boys hittin' different. Sounds like if this is a chain, someone higher up needs to know. Someone who has other issues as well could be dangerously ill from this. Police need to know this moron is DUI. You really need to talk to the owner. I'm allergic to dairy, and that would have made me very angry and very sick. I'd be driving to that place the next day and calmly getting some information about who owned it, and how to get in touch with them. I wouldn't say why, just get the info. I'm allergic to dairy, and that would have made me very angry and very sick. I have a slight lactose intolerance, and that can be a pain in the ass, no pun intended. I can't imagine being straight up allergic to dairy. My grandson can't have dairy at all. The daycare, idiot new teacher, gave him a small cup of milk, and then wanted to send him home when they got the results of that. I'm sorry that you're not feeling well. Not all people change their diets to be trendy, but that's so they can live. Please let someone higher up know if possible. Depending on allergies, they could make someone seriously ill. Hope you're better soon. Your poor grandson. I hope the staff do better for him. I'm lactose intolerant and haven't been able to eat dairy since the 90s. I would complain to someone higher up. Imagine if you were deathly allergic. This would be a valid instance of I want to speak to the manager. Haha. Post your experience on the restaurant's Facebook and Instagram sites. Hopefully someone in management checks their pages. If only there was a more direct way to talk to management. Is there a feedback email you receive or a feedback form on their site? You can always lodge a complaint that way, and it's more likely to reach a manager or the franchise owner than the guy you spoke to. Food allergies are no joke. Sorry you're feeling unwell now. I went to a small chain on the weekend and ordered a dairy-free pizza. When it came, it was obviously dairy-free, so I flagged down the waiter and let him know. They apologized profusely, remade it, boxed the old one for my friend, and took it off our bill. It was really nice. I tipped $20 cash on top of the 20% tip my friend gave on card, and still saved like $20. It wasn't cheap pizza. That's a great ending to a not so great situation. I'm glad it worked out this way for you. Dairy-free FTW. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.